Hey, Mike. Okay, I have a couple things to show you, and I haven't thought of questions yet, but I'm going to ask you three at the end. Fun stuff that I found since we hung up from our marathon call earlier. Let's start with Zoe Computer. I had not created an account. Probably both of us have seen Zoe before. So I have like AI or a chat interface here. You can connect your accounts, so your favorite models. I connected Claude and chats, files. Up here shows me that I have a little 2.6 gigahertz with 4 gigs of RAM machine. You can create some automations. We can, of course, chat with Zoe from iMessage or Telegram or WhatsApp, something like that. There's a desktop app, which I assume is just a virtualization of this. And Zoe's browser. Okay. So then you can allow Zoe to go do things for you. And then there's hosting, which is pretty neat. So I'm looking at this stuff because I was thinking, we were talking about the difference between bitter.sh and other services, but also what is bitter.sh? What's the main goal here? And that's like maybe the core challenge of what I'd love to see you as your friend, see you articulate really well. And if I can just think about it right now, I think I know your general mission. Help people build things, give people the tools they need and the inspiration they need to get started, to bring their ideas to life. And I'm just trying to figure out like what space does Bitter live in and where do the others live? So just a couple questions, and you're going to be able to elaborate on this more, but I asked, can Zoe host a Postgres database for me? Yes, it can. And then I didn't know that was possible. Oh, okay. So if you can host Postgres for me and give me an endpoint and everything. So if I build something on Zoe, like a web app or a SaaS product that needs a database, it can all be hosted from my Zoe computer? Yes, it can. And it will give you some URLs, or you can use a custom URL. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I can help you set it up end to end. This is where I felt like, sounds a little bit like Bitter. Love to hear your feedback on like the kind of differences, because I keep describing bitter.sh as like a prosumer version of Lovable. Or you could say it's like an augment to Anthropic or Codex that helps you get started more easily because it has lots of things built in. And then the argument to that is like, why would you want to build it? Why can't Claude just do all this stuff itself and build it for you if software is so cheap? As in, why can't your project in Claude just create everything that you need and tell you what to do? So anyway, help me figure out the space that bitter.sh lives in. The next thing I saw that I didn't look at too deeply, but is fly.io. And a friend of mine said that he's hosting his own kind of company brain or a personal brain. He said he was originally thinking he would use Zoe Computer, and then he just rolled his own and hosted it on Fly. And since I had not heard of this website, I'm curious to hear what you think about it. It reminds me of the site where everything is hosted nowadays. It's not Retool. What's it called? Shoot. It reminds me of no, Vercel. It reminds me of Vercel. But it seems a little different. So let's look at the pricing. Maybe that's going to help us. Is this the pricing page? There's no pricing on here. Oh, calculate your cost. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's a slice of a computer, not a hardware virtualized container, not a full computer. Which is that what Zoe gives you as well? I don't know. I know that Bitter, you want to give people essentially a Hetzner box of their own. That's kind of pre-configured. Yeah, thought this was cool. The next thing is your Mac fixed before your next meeting. I have not played with this, but I'm going to share my full screen. This seems interesting. So what's it doing? It's reading my logs. I didn't have to give it access to anything. I'm going to say my storage is what? Okay. Storage is almost full. Really? I tried this earlier. Huh. Yes. Start again. Maybe I'll just get one thread for free. Not going to access. Oh, there we go. My music. That's unique. What else is going to happen? Oh, I have one more thing, and it's following me around right now. You've probably seen this, but maybe you haven't installed it, but it's Clicky. Hey, Clicky, what do you know about this company, Noah?
Let me take a second to look at what's on your screen so I can answer that clearly.
Okay.
It's a Mac troubleshooting app that lets you describe a problem in plain English, then it finds the cause, shows you a plan, and fixes it with your approval. It's designed to be constrained and audited with a limited set of tools and extra confirmation for risky actions.
Okay. Cool. I could see this Clicky being extremely useful for many people. My mom is the first one I think about. I've wanted to build something like that's kind of a mix of Clicky and Noah for her, so that when there are boxes that pop up and she's like, should I click on this? This thing popped up. I'm not sure which direction I should go. Or is this spam? That you could just quickly send a screenshot or give something access to your screen and it would tell you which direction to go, tell you if it's spam, things like that. So love that this is starting to make its way out into the world. Here's what I'll do. Okay, so it looked at my hard drive, and it's how was it able to look at my full disk? Did it have full disk access? I didn't authorize that. Interesting. Clear library caches, purge npm cache, purge pip cache. Okay. Interesting. I don't want to do that right now, but that's fun. Okay. Those are the interesting things I have for you. And my questions. Number one, tell me the elevator pitch, the differentiated elevator pitch for Bitter. Tell me the why now for Bitter. Why is it important to build it right now? And tell me what the world looks like in 5 years when Bitter is at scale. You know what? 5 years, I think I might have said that. Let's shorten it. When Bitter is at scale in like 2 years, because startups have to grow fast now, what does the world look like when Bitter is fully at its full potential, when it's fully distributed, when people have access to it? Those are my questions. Hope you have a good night.
All right. Let's try this. So trying something a little bit different here. I'm on the iPhone camera using QuickTime with the iPhone microphone, trying to step up the quality. It does feel extremely unnatural. So I'll try my best, and it is 2 a.m. here. So I'll try to do my best to do your difficult questions justice. And also, this format's a little bit challenging because I feel like I need to remember everything you said and then try to recall it. It's like I'm Harry Mack or something. You're throwing out words and I need to make them all rhyme in a freestyle. So let me try that. We talked about a couple sort of competitor Orbit products. I haven't used Zoe. It does look cool. It does look the most similar in that it looks like they're giving you a VM, a little smaller one. And instead of giving you a terminal, it did look like they're giving you like a chat. So I'd say that's probably the biggest difference. And yeah, and everything that kind of flows off of that is like they're really all about giving you the connections to Telegram, etc., just kind of all out of the box. I would say more like consumer oriented versus the way I view that is, I mean, yeah, I do think that connecting to Telegram and stuff is cool. I view that a little bit more universal, and like that's what Bitter Inbox is to me. It is designed to be a conversation thread system that currently has email as its first adapter, but it's designed to be able to connect to any kind of chat messaging system in terms of its underlying data structure. It's designed to work like that. So yeah, same concept. Haven't fleshed it out that much yet. I feel like that kind of comes a little bit later as the properties that Bitter's operating mature, as BitterClip gets more customers, etc. As BitterSH matures, gets customers, then it's going to be more demand for, hey, I want to talk to this thing on Telegram or whatever. For now, it's not something I use. Feels like a bells and whistle for me. Yeah, so Zoe does look really close in terms of the ethos, but more consumer facing. To me, abstracting away the terminal is not something I like. Like when I see people using the Claude Code desktop app, I couldn't imagine myself using that. I like to be seeing what's actually happening. I like to be able to drop in to the file system, see actual error traces and stuff, and not have that abstracted away. It's just the way I am. Having been in software for a long time, you typically wouldn't want to use something that abstracts that away. Just my opinion. But yeah, so I would say it's a little more developer facing in a nutshell. Then Fly.io, decent product. I actually used it. I had like a handful of apps on Fly, and the costs were starting to add up. And that's actually when I built BitterGrid, where I was like, you know what, like the idea in factory is that I'm deploying all these probes. The probes were initially like static sites, and I built that myself initially. I was like, I can't really put this in other static site hosts. The costs are going to add up. I kind of want to control all of it, understand all of it. And then dynamic apps, that kind of happened. I actually was using Fly, and a couple things. One, cost adding up, but also two, it's kind of slow and clunky. Whatever they're doing with their VM system, there does seem to be like noisy neighbor problems and slow start problems. So yeah, I like having performance. I like having like dedicated machinery that I don't need to wait for it to boot up. And especially if I'm going to be using it to run agents in for long horizon runs, like multiple days autonomously at a time, I want a very stable environment. I want to have guarantees that there's no contention for RAM or CPU or disk or anything. So that's kind of the difference there. And that Fly is really just like a hosting platform. I'm sure they're now moving into agents as we talk about with the great convergence. But yeah, for me, I guess how it's different is I'm from the ground up building something that is designed for an agent to run in. And in many ways, the most powerful setup is like pure cowboy, which is like you have your production environment and your agent like runs in that production environment. That would be like theoretically the most powerful if you just throw caution to the wind. And it's powerful, but it's unprofessional because there's really no safeguards in terms of your agent taking an action. It makes a mistake. They're very smart, but they can still make mistakes, and that could affect your customers in production and so forth. So the philosophy that I'm trying to follow is, okay, I want to get as close to a cowboy setup I can, but with enough safeguards that you don't have like a high risk of that sort of thing happening. So that means like developing an environment where you have production and you have like a development runtime that's also hosted and has an easy way to read production if it needs to, clone stuff over from production if it needs to and it's appropriate to, and yeah, has just a very, very similar environment so that it's very native for the agent to go from development to production very seamlessly and have a tight like iterative loop. I think especially when you're sort of greenfielding project or it's very, very early on in a project, this is like there's not even a distinction between production and development often. So the ability to have like essentially a cowboy setup where your agent is running, you have it in development mode, but you can expose that publicly and like on a preview URL and just iterate on it live is a nice setup. And yeah, so I would say that's kind of the main difference. Something like Fly, I don't think it has like first class affordances for like running agents for a long time in there, but I could be wrong. I haven't looked at it too carefully. So yeah, maybe they're all just like computer hosts in some ways. So what was the question in terms of like the elevator pitch, how it's different? Like, yeah, I feel like part of the reason I'm putting off this video is like I don't have a clear answer to that. In many ways, this is still largely just a journey of discovery, and me just wanting to learn as much as possible about what an environment that maximizes like sort of AI agent leverage and building and operating software looks like. And I don't have a clear answer in terms of this is so much better than this or that, because I'm not using them. And I'm sure that pretty much any hosting platform, if you just push hard enough, you could make an agent squeeze in there and be happy somehow, because they're very adaptable. They're very malleable. So for me, it's really more about having the freedom to explore and adapt like really, really rapidly. So yeah, it's less about, like BitterSH is so much better than Zoe or Fly. It's just that I can have full control to move quickly and adapt as I see fit. For example, I had a big agent runner infrastructure in there initially with lots of sort of specialized agent lanes, specialized permissions manifests, custom CLIs for different agents, just all kinds of experimentation, context bundles for these different specialist agents. Lots of experimentation to just try to see how token efficient I can get tasks done and so forth, and running it across providers. And I actually just kind of stripped all that out because the way the wind was starting to blow was Claude had just nixed like basically providing subscription subsidized inference for programmatically controlled harnesses. And although they didn't seem to be impairing my agent runner at the time, I never actually got any metered credits swap over, but it was happening to other projects. And just a few days ago, they reversed position on it. So now it's like the wind seems like it's blown the other way. Like OpenAI held their ground on it, and I guess Anthropic got the user feedback that like, oh, like maybe we shouldn't be like too greedy about this, and they changed their mind. So I hope that sticks, because I thought the agent runner stuff is super interesting actually, and I felt like I had to adapt and pivot away from it because it just felt like a business risk. That could very well, the same thing could have happened with OpenAI, and it still could. So I didn't want to bank too hard on saying, oh, okay, I'm going to build a driver, a custom agent runner for something that depends on subsidized subscription level inference. I'd rather pick the most conservative route of just letting you run vanilla provider harnesses with the interactive interfaces that are likely to maintain subsidized inference, because that's ultimately, I'm trying to create value for the customer, and that's clearly a much better value than me trying to resell you intelligence at a 30 times higher cost. So yeah, I think this is interesting. So I am actually starting to put some emphasis now back into restructuring how the environments work, to basically put back hooks for programmatically driving your agents, like remotely, or other agents driving your agents inside the Bitterbox. But yeah, I think in a little bit more generic way, where there's basically not much difference in terms of a human or another agent driving agents inside a Bitterbox. So in some ways it's nice. It kind of forcing me to kind of tear it out, put it back in like a little bit cleaner abstraction. Yeah, so I think your other, I feel like I didn't answer your question at all, but that's the best I got. In a nutshell, still evolving. The differentiation is right now the fact that it's still greenfield. I don't have a lot of customers, meaning I can adapt very quickly. And that's sort of the thesis in general, is that the ground is moving so quickly that the legacy platforms can put out a good marketing front about how agentic they are. But at the core, they were built for an era before that. And yeah, Bitter at the core was built from the very beginning to be purely agent-driven. There's no, you've seen the UX. There is basically no UX. It's atrocious because there's I don't expect people to log in and use it. So, and yeah. Yeah, everything agent first. So where is that in 2 years? It's a scaled company. 2 years is not that much time. It goes by pretty quick. I think that for sure there is a much greater cohesiveness in terms of the sort of Bitterverse. Some of the early feedbacks I got was, how come we're making these all different .coms? How come it's not all just subdomains of Bitter-SH? I think that's good feedback. And I think it will trend towards that over time more and more. Where like Bitter Inbox will just be integrated into your app. So when you're inside Bitter-SH, you click on one of your apps, you click on the Potty project, and you'll just like have your inbox there, which will be like Bitter email, but could also be Telegram. It could be support chats getting piped in there from your Bitter desk integration, etc. But yeah, this like vertical integration really starts to pay off. And it's also like all this stuff is designed to be plug and play with other services. So if you want to connect it to Zapier or Naton or any of those things, which I don't use, but I recognize people do, it's fine. You can. Everything is webhook compatible, etc. So yeah, that this vertical integration starts to make more sense. That projects like Bitterclip are really starting to strongly differentiate with their focus. I think people are getting it kind of all wrong, where I think software, there's this story we tell ourselves, I feel that it's this all or nothing, winner take all market in software. And I think in some cases, yes, maybe like a CDN, there's big network effects, social networks, markets, places, those have big network effects. And in general, the sales and distributions of these companies have huge networks effects. But when I look at Bitterclip, for example, and I see these other projects launching all these different AI gen video editors, there's probably hundreds of AI video editor products launching this year. Wouldn't surprise me at all, if maybe thousands. And I do think that those that stay focused on specific niches will continue to do well, because we're just in this Permian explosion, or whatever it's called, the Cambrian explosion of software, where there's this spectrum of selfware, you build it yourself, that's gonna have a massive tailwind. I think the kind of software that you can one-shot 2 years from now is going to be completely ridiculous, and Bitter will be here for it. You'll open a Bitter box and you'll just one-shot just spectacularly nice software, with a GPT-8 auto research loop, just crank it away. It's happy with its bare metal Linux environment, can run whatever algorithms, libraries it needs to, basically unconstrained. I think that's going to be a very, very powerful thing, and it'll be augmented by a continual refinement of the focus of Bitter SH. Basically, you basically treat it like an eval, right? Every time someone tries to build something, you learn something and you improve it. I mean, we've done it live on the show a few times. You've been the unfortunate, guinea pig of using the hosted terminal, and there's all kinds of issues. And right now they're fairly egregious, but over time it'll be less and less and less so, and it'll just be little micro optimizations that, they make deploying 10% more token efficient. They make debugging 25% more token efficient, because you can just find the sort of needles in a haystack and the logs quicker, etc. And these kinds of things will just kind of add up over time, and the vertical integration of all the sort of different toolings, since it's all sort of hand rolled and built for Bitter, will really, really, really start to pay off more and more, because this kind of exercise of building and operating software is a holistic, cross-disciplinary thing. And so on one hand, it's also perfectly fine to say, I'm going to use Google Cloud for this. I'm going to use Rollbar for that. I'm going to use Sentry. I'm going to use Doppler. I'm going to use all these things. I'm going to pay $1,000 a month for them. They're best in class, and my agents know them pretty well because they're heavily in the training data, and I'm sure that setup will work just fine and great, and it's an option. And what I'm proposing is that Bitter will also be an option that's fine and great. And in 2 years, Bitter will also be in the training data heavily, because over the next, I'm hoping by day 100, I've open sourced at the very minimum, basically comprehensive documentation for all the satellite services, and perhaps even some of the infrastructure too, so that a year from now, yeah, it is all in the training data. In 2 years, if the product does start to get some pickup and some distribution, like, it'll be heavily in the training data. And yeah, there's that will be an advantage to have this vertical integration where everything is just very token efficient and cohesive. Because the reality is all these different services have very different ways of how they structure their interfaces, what their philosophy is, and they're not always going to mesh, and you're going to be stuck writing the glue code. And on Bitter, you won't. There won't be any glue code unless you choose to step outside, which is fine if you do. So yeah, that's the whole point of the company is to structure itself so that there is a tailwind, that when GPT-6 comes out, like, not just Bitter SH, but the whole constellation, like, works better, because every constellation property is built around this philosophy of every product student has to be designed in such a way that when the model gets better, the features, like, instead of less obsolete, it's more relevant. The MCP server is more relevant. The CLI is more relevant. Yeah, that's the idea. I think it's tough in many ways because it's a hard sell, because you can't see the results like today that well. I can see it because I've experimented enough to see, like, validation of it, but I haven't fully gotten to a point where a stranger logs in and has that aha moment, is like, oh wow, yeah, this, like, is nice. Like, and I'm really, that's my near-term goal. I think, I think in the next few weeks here, it should be there where it does feel very turnkey, and I'm, like, super excited to open up for like open sign up. Yeah. So that's it. I hope my responses are good. I think I covered the questions. And I hope the audio quality and video quality is better. It does feel kind of awkward, but I can get used to it. I can get over it. Yeah. Another 2:30 in the morning video. I'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.